So it's another Friday on the Parkway, and today I'm headed much further south to Mount Mitchell. We've got some fire pinks blooming here right along the Parkway. This foliage here is wood batony, or sometimes also called lousewort. They're pretty much done blooming and making seeds now. This is a hemiparasitic plant, so it is green, has green leaves, and does photosynthesis, but it also draws nutrients from other plants, and these tap into the roots of grasses. This area of the woods here has been blocked off pretty much by a fallen tree, which is probably for the better, because we see some neat flowers back there. Here in the woods we seem to have some fly poison in bloom. So that's these white flowers there. There's a couple more over there. So this is what the leaves look like for that. And then this one has a flower where, see, the lower flowers are already turning green. So that's very typical for fly poison. The mountain laurels now are pretty much done. They're losing their flowers. They still have a couple of good ones on there. Here we are at Green Knob Overlook. While most people just stop for the view on the other side, I like to look at these cliff faces on the opposite side of the parking lots. There's usually lots of neat plants to be discovered on these. This is some kind of St. John's wort in bloom. And here we have some world loosestrife. So these have leaves in rolls of 4, and these yellow flowers. And more of the world loosestrife here. The roadsides are really in bloom now. Lots of fleabane in bloom here. I believe this is the annual one, so different species from the one we saw earlier in spring. And we've got the yarrow blooming here. Lots of yellow flowers here. They're not dandelions. Not quite sure what they are. Another overlook here. This is looking towards the Black Mountain range. Now this cliffside we have some galax, and this is still in bloom. That is mountain sweet pepper bush, now starting to bloom. Another sweet pepper bush here. And some Virginia creeper. This plant here is southern bush honeysuckle. We have the first flowers open here. And lots of buds. The blueberries are making fruits now. And this shrub here, that's mini bush. You can tell this one by the white tips on the leaves. We're seeing the rose bay rhododendron. And some of that tall thimbleweed among the jewelweed here. More thimbleweed. Still found a columbine in bloom here. And here's another one. Poke milkweed. And next to it, what looks like a Turk's cap lily. Not yet in bloom. Now this plant here is a flowering spurge. Another overlook here, and what I notice is that a lot of these signs have a lot more graffiti on them than usual. It seems like this whole COVID-19 situation has induced people to just scribble their names all over things. Now those big leaves right there, that's pipevine. Climbing up here into sassafras tree. American alum root in bloom here. There are more and more summer bloomers out now. Here we have the first Coreopsis in bloom. This one has whorled leaves, so I think this is the whorled Coreopsis. Something minty looking starting to bloom here. And we've got some more of that tall meadow rue. Yeah, this is towering over all the other plants. That's definitely a lot taller than the early meadow rue we've seen earlier in spring. This one's making fruits, so that's a female. Here we're starting to see the first flower buds on the snake roots. So that's white snake root. Has these large leaves that almost look like nettles, but these don't sting. They are poisonous though. More yellow wood sorrel here. And a dayflower here. This, I'm not sure what it is. Something in the mint family. This is the orchard at Alta Pass. So you can go apple picking here. The apple trees are over there. So this is the orchard from the other side. Got some campion bloom here. That looks like bladder campion. We've got purple flowering raspberry blooming down there. We've got some spiderwort in bloom here. Lots of spiderwort here along the road too. Nice patch of fire pink here too. Here we've got sundrops in bloom. So these bloom during the day. They're related to evening primrose, which blooms at night. So these attract daytime pollinators, whereas the evening primrose attracts night pollinators like moths. There's lots of these sundrops now in bloom here. Nice colorful mix of roadside flowers here. We've got the fleabane, we've got the fire pink blooming here, we've got those sundrops, the yellow ones. Lots of these heustonias still out here. We've got some hairy alum root growing on these cliff faces. That looks like hairy alum root in bloom. The wild hydrangea is blooming here. And we've got some goat's beard in bloom. Looks like we have some kind of penstemon here. First Japanese beetle I'm seeing this year. Now here we've got something we do not necessarily want to see on the parkway. This stuff is kudzu. That's of course a horrible invasive. So it has these trifoliate leaves. You can see those right there. And it just likes to climb up on everything. Eventually chokes the trees to death. And this is why they call it the Blue Ridge Mountains.